All right, welcome back. So we're going to jump in today and talk about COVID. We had a couple of folks test positive for COVID this week. One of the more notable names, Mike McCarthy, coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy, if you want to kick off this discussion.
Well, I was going to say that here we are talking about the Dallas Cowboys, who this Thanksgiving season
Yes.
are no stranger to losses. Their latest major loss coming yesterday at the coach of Mike McCarthy not being present for this Thursday night's game. He will be apparently logged in through the cloud, through Microsoft Azure Cloud, reaching out and communicating with his players that way using technology while he quarantines through COVID. We, of course, naturally wish Coach McCarthy all the best. We hope for health of his family and his friends and the rest of the team and the NFL and the rest of our population. But nevertheless, are we really amazed that a prominent Texas figure has COVID?
Not me.
No, well, just not so much with the Cowboys. I mean, let's keep in mind, like, Coach McCarthy is not by a long shot the most high profile, NFL player or athlete to have, had to deal with COVID, like not by a long shot, right? So it's not really anything like that. I think, you looked at what the NFL had to implement and kind of what was one of the leading talks of not just the NFL, but the entire nation leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday was exposure, and it was to the point of it's expected to see COVID cases rise over the next couple of weeks as folks, went and did, the holidays with the family and things of that nature. And the NFL is no different. They're a little higher exposure though, because, they're going to be out, they're going to be playing against folks from different areas. You've got fans in the stadiums, the travel that comes along with it. And then of course, the players is that spot of for teams that did, even the teams that didn't play on Thursday, they had their Thanksgiving stuff on Thursday. They saw their family and they should have. And we hope that they had a fantastic time. But the exposure is there, right? They go out on Thursday, they're exposed to it. They're not showing symptoms or may not even be testing positive, but they're exposed to it. So it's there, it's doing its thing. Come Sunday, they get on the field, they play a lot. And, it becomes a big spread. And so, what the NFL has basically said is they're going to do 2 tests. They're going to test on Monday, and then they're going to test again on, I think tomorrow, Wednesday, they're going to test again. But to kind of get that and see where folks are just on the sense of being safe, especially, some folks aren't going to like it, because of COVID thing. Let them play if they're not feeling good, because not everybody's going to be symptomatic. Some folks will be, they'll be okay, right? But I think when you look at the overall picture, especially as we walk, getting real close into where it counts, we're getting into playoff time, all that, where if the NFL doesn't, they don't really get in there and kind of make the decisions of like, hey, these are the things that, we need to do to make sure that not just our players are safe, but, our fans, the employees, because keep in mind, there are people that work in the stadiums, right? This is their job, their livelihood. They're not getting paid millions of dollars. So, working the game is actually important for them because, it's generating income. And if you have some major outbreak, I mean, imagine getting to the spot where we get into the playoffs and, half of the, not half, but, you got like 20 starters out for playoff games, and it becomes one of those situations where now it's just no fun for anybody. Uh, and I think I kind of, in some aspects, I agree with folks where everybody's tired of hearing about COVID. We're tired of hiding from it. And, we want to be able to go out and have fun. And I think folks, to a certain degree should be able to do that. But you just can't really carry that logic into, a stadium that's got 30,000 people sitting in it. When you get into those larger groups like that, it doesn't, it's like, yeah, if Frank on the corner wants to go visit his mom and dad in Cincinnati and maybe see his cousins, that's a risk we kind of have to accept because, one, we're coming up on 2 years into this, right? But for the NFL, the NBA, basically all of that stuff, I just don't see it as a risk that you can really take. So it's like if folks either aren't following the rules, not passing tests, if you can't have some level of, I want to say certainty, but some reasonable level of assurance that you're doing what you can, right? No one's 100% safe, but there's a difference between doing what you can and then just saying, the heck with it, I'll do it, that whatever. So
Or being Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, so it's really a situation where the NFL as an organization is walking that fine line between keeping the business model moving and then protecting the business model and the folks that are within the business model. Because if everybody gets COVID and the NFL season shuts down, that's and nobody wants that. That's like bad all the way around. So it's really a scenario of you're gonna get lemons. You're gonna try and make some lemonade, do the best that you can. You're not gonna make everybody happy. So you kind of err on the side of caution and try and make the most happy. So that's my take on it. Again, for everybody that's kind of running into their, I think I read that even Big Ben, reported again that, in the symptoms thing. So, obviously we want to see, good outcomes for everybody that's struggling with it. We hope that they make a full, fast recovery. But, it's still a reality of things that, we have to deal with.
So most teams, I think, are keeping their numbers relatively low, but you've got three teams. Well, let me say it this way. Between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings right now, they are the top two teams with current folks out for COVID. Dallas having 4 players and a coach, and Vikings having 6 players. But when you look at the season COVID list, Dallas again, Vikings, and Tennessee, these 3 teams have had the most cases out of all teams. Do you guys have any thought on what or why these 3 teams have double or triple the numbers as most of the other teams on average? I mean, is it political climate? Is it they're doing something just way different? I mean,
Let me say this. It's what I read was it was 6 players and then it was 7 coaches from the Dallas Cowboys that are on the COVID list. Some from last week.
Amari Cooper being one of them.
Correct. Let me just say this. I'm not going to get political about the situation about COVID, but I'm just going to say, as far as people taking care of being responsible, taking care of being responsible during COVID. Now, understand, everybody has their choice to be able to get the vaccine or not get the vaccine. That is definitely their choice. But okay, along with your choice comes responsibilities too. So if you know that you are not getting the vaccine, or if you did get the vaccine, you still want to be precautious as far as anything that you do, so that you're not affecting your coworker or your friends or family. You just want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and making sure that you're taking care of the responsibility for yourself and other people around you. Now, the reason I said earlier when Tommy was going into what he was saying about Aaron Rodgers is because, to me, the way Aaron Rodgers handled the situation, there's so many people that are once they get 18, they want to say that they're grown. Okay. When in reality, they're a man child. Okay. And what is a man child? A man child is basically somebody that is not taking the responsibilities, taking the responsibility for their responsibilities. As Aaron said that he was immunized, which we found out that was not true because he did get COVID and everything else. That's what a man child would have done. then going on a radio show and said that, oh, before the cancel culture put the nail in the coffin, let me go ahead and explain myself, and then further decided to use MLK Jr. as far as a quote or reference of him sitting in jail fighting for civil rights as far as for your COVID situation. Man child. Now, then coming on the show the other week and saying, "Oh, okay, well, I apologize to if you guys felt that I lied to you," when he actually did lie. Man child. So we have a bunch of people being man-childs about the situation. We have a bunch of people being man-child about the situation and not taking responsibility. If you're not, this goes for people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. Put on a mask if you're put on a mask. I'm vaccinated and I still wear my mask everywhere I go because I know it's not just, it's protecting me and it's also protecting everybody else. Being responsible, taking the next step just to be precautious as far as not affecting anyone else. And as I say, I agree with everybody as far as their choice to be able to take either to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. But if you're not going to take the vaccine, at least put on your mask. At least protect somebody as far as this as this pandemic is going on. And even on my team, I love the Dallas Cowboys, but will I say that if they're taking the steps to do that, maybe. I'm not sure what's going in that locker room, but I could say this: if you have 6 players and then you have 7 coaches out because of COVID, something is not going right.
I would have to agree with that.
Well, and it's when you're dealing with teams that have personalities, one of the scary parts about this, and I think one of the things that gets missed a lot is that, sure, you got 7 coaches, 6 players, but it's entirely possible that it's essentially the foolishness of 1 or 2 people that are causing that. And it may not be, it's entirely possible. They're not even the people that are on the list, right? I mean, and not in that, I'm not talking about that one, but it's something that somebody could have come out, done something irresponsible, dumb, and basically been in a spot where they were asymptomatic and didn't necessarily get it. They were just happened to have it and passed it off and shared it. And that's the thing to consider is that it's, as you said, it's really just a matter of selfishness. And it's like, I'm all for, the whole, like, okay, if you don't want to get vaccinated, don't. That's on you. I can tell you my opinion about it, but that's on you. You're grown. You figure out what you want to do. But then to come back and be like, well, I'm not wearing a mask. It's like, okay, well, now you're just being selfish. You're just being like a little, 4-year-old that has to get their way regardless of how dumb it is. And by the way, if there were less people like you, we probably would have been done with this in June of 2020. But there's not. So here we are in December of 2021, still dealing with it. And the truth of the matter is the ease up that we've had, the ease of COVID restriction, the ability to travel, the declining, rates of hospitalization, death, and the whole 9 is because of the folks that got vaccinated. It's actually, the folks that are like, well, it's herd immunity no, it's not. It's the people that got vaccinated. Herd immunity happens through death. And so when, we get to that point where, half the population has died, there you go. That's what it'll take, right? So the people that are willing to actually think beyond themselves or just, do logical things are the folks that are keeping the rates down, and the folks that are complaining about it. I don't think that they're mentally capable of understanding that they're the only reason why it's left. It's all them. It's the folks that I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to protect myself or other people. I'm not, I'm anti-vaccine because I read something on on Reddit once, and it sounded scary. You know, those are the folks that keep this alive. And unfortunately, as much as, you know, folks look, you know, to, you know, our stars and our media, you know, the folks that are big in the media as, you know, those are your role models and things like that, you know, COVID is a stark reminder that, yes, they're human. They're definitely human. And some of them aren't the brightest humans around. Some of them are. There's a lot of guys in there that are very smart and, you know, that got stuff together. But it's another stark reminder that, well, for some people that came out of Northern California junior colleges, it's a real good thing that you can throw a football pretty good, because I don't know where else you make it without that. Just throwing that out there. And just my opinion, play football as long as you can. Game show hosting ain't for you. Not saying any names.
Yeah, please don't. All right, well, let's take a quick break. I do want to talk about the Thanksgiving game, which was a tough loss for the Cowboys, especially from a penalty standpoint. And, you know, we saw subsequent games this weekend where the same things were happening and no penalty was called. So, again, quick break. We'll be back. Hit the like and subscribe button down here.